note, I just want to drop in here, maybe not necessarily apropos of anything, but when we talk about Breitbart, between Breitbart and Fox News, in terms of total reader interactions with articles on Facebook in the last month, between October 10th and November 10th, Fox News and Breitbart combined outpaced CNN, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, New York Times, Washington Post, and Wall Street Journal together. By far.
It's mortifying.
By far. 45 million interactions for Fox News, 18 for CNN, 18 for Breitbart, BuzzFeed, 17 million, Huffington Post, 14 million, New York Times, 7 million, Washington Post, 3 million, Wall Street Journal, 975,000. So, things like talking about Breitbart, obviously, rather important. And I have a feeling there's, a version of you, Matthew, in England who's either hopefully produced a story like this or is contemplating one in terms of anticipating like what Breitbart's role was in Brexit. I don't know how well it does there, but certainly, there's a strong attachment to Nigel Farage. All right, so lastly, let's just wrap this up here because it is, we are now left with this sort of the Breitbartization of our government, and we now have people referring to it. I think that guy you were talking about, I can't remember his name now, but I want to say something Barara or something like that, the former PR guy. He basically said Breitbart has now become more or less like, the government media source at this point.
Yeah. There's a lot terrifyingly up in the air right now with the Trump transition team thing. And, clearly Bannon has a kind of Grand Vizier Rasputin kind of role now alongside Trump. And it sort of remains to be seen, I feel like, how these people who are not expecting to win are going to fill all of the positions they have to fill. And I'm kind of suspecting that the neoconservative wing of the GOP are just going to find a way to fill those slots. And that
this seems to be Bannon's agenda. He seems to be the only one. I guess maybe Reince has an agenda to fill it with sort of, I guess, more, establishment, libertarian economic style. I'm thinking of Paul Ryan, Republicans.
Yeah.
Mike Pence seems to would have the agenda, it seems to me, to fill these positions with Christian Reconstructionists. And Bannon is certainly pushing for these neocons. And I don't know that there's really how much of a conflict there is between all those. It seems to me they could all get along in a room. There's some infighting, but I imagine that has to do more with power than it does with any type of ideological disposition.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who voted for Trump are going to find out how kind of weak their commitments were to, holding Wall Street to task, or these global financial elites. Their plans, even from what Trump was saying in the debates, suggest that they're going to be very business friendly to the point of kind of ignoring some of the populist promises that they made. And that's something that, at least from the conversations Bannon has conducted publicly, he sounds like he really believes in some of that populist stuff, and that he really wants to correct that aspect of thinking inside the Beltway. But one, I don't see it happening with the allies he's made, and two, I kind of am not particularly convinced that privately, he really has it as a priority.
Good point. Matthew Phelan, the piece is Building the House of Breitbart. Apparently it's still being constructed, and now they just call it the White House. Written in Jacobin magazine. Thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure being on. Thanks very much.
Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Subscribe.